Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I want to talk to you today about a topic that hits close to home for many. It's about a woman with no friends. In a world overflowing with social media connections, thousands of followers, and endless digital likes, we still find women walking through life feeling completely alone. You see, this is not about the quantity of your connections, it's about the quality of your companionship. Sometimes God has to pull you out of the crowd so he can speak to you in the quiet, so he can work on you without distractions. This powerful statement serves as a reminder that isolation is not always a punishment, but can be a profound season of preparation. When we find ourselves alone, removed from the hustle and bustle of everyday life, it's often because we are being set apart for a greater purpose. It may feel like abandonment, like everyone has walked away, but this solitude can be a gift, a rare opportunity to tune out the noise of the world and tune into the voice of God. You see, in the crowd, there are too many voices competing for our attention. The opinions, judgments, and expectations of others can drown out the still, small voice within us. And we get caught up in what people think we should be, what society expects of us, and what we believe we need to do to fit in. But when we are alone, those voices begin to fade, and we are left with ourselves. It's just us and our thoughts, our dreams, our fears, and our hopes. This is where God can do his deepest work, away from the noise, away from the distractions. I think about the moments in your life when you felt most isolated. Those were probably the moments when you were being prepared for something greater. It's easy to feel discouraged during these times because we are wired to crave connection and companionship. We want to feel understood, to have someone who listens, who walks with us through the ups and downs of life. But there are seasons when God says not yet he needs you to be still, to be quiet, to listen to his plans for your life without the interference of other opinions. In the Bible, there are countless examples of great leaders and visionaries who experienced a season of isolation before stepping into their purpose. Moses spent 40 years in the desert before he was called to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. Jesus himself spent 40 days in the wilderness before beginning his ministry. These were not times of punishment, but of preparation. They were times when God was shaping their character, strengthening their faith, and clarifying their mission. The same principle applies to us today. Our moments of solitude are not moments of rejection, but of refinement. Imagine you are a sculptor. You cannot carve a masterpiece in the middle of a busy street with people bumping into you and distractions everywhere. You need a quiet space, a place where you can focus, where you can see the vision clearly and work meticulously. This is what God is doing when he pulls you out of the crowd. He is carving away the parts of you that don't fit into the vision he has for your life. He is molding you, shaping you, refining you into the person you need to be for the calling he has placed on your heart. In our fast-paced world, where we are constantly bombarded with information, opinions, and endless noise, solitude can feel uncomfortable. We're so used to filling every moment with activity, every silence with sound. But there is a unique power in stillness. It's in the quiet that we can hear our own thoughts, reflect on our lives, and most importantly, hear the voice of God. He speaks to us in the silence, in those moments when we have no one else to turn to but him. It's in these times that we can gain clarity, receive guidance, and find the strength to move forward. When God pulls you out of the crowd, it's because he wants to have an intimate conversation with you. He wants to reveal things to you that you couldn't hear amidst the noise. He wants to show you the dreams he has placed in your heart, the gifts he has given you, and the path he wants you to take. But this revelation can only happen when you are quiet enough to listen. It's in the quiet that he whispers his plans, his promises, his love. It's also in these moments of solitude that we discover who we really are. Without the influence of others, we are forced to confront our true selves. We begin to see our strengths, our weaknesses, our insecurities, and our potential. It's a time of self-discovery, of learning to love ourselves as God loves us. We learn to appreciate our own company, to find joy in our own presence, and to rely on God for our sense of worth and purpose. This is where true growth happens, where transformation begins. The process of being pulled out of the crowd can be painful. It can feel like you've been abandoned, like no one sees you or understands you. But remember, isolation is often the birthplace of revelation. It's in the quiet that God reveals his purpose for your life. It's in the quiet that he prepares you for what's coming next. He is not punishing you, he is preparing you. He is getting ready to launch you into a new season, a new chapter, a new opportunity that you couldn't see while you were distracted by the crowd. Consider the story of a seed planted in the ground. It's buried in darkness, away from the sunlight, away from the world. It seems like it's been cast aside, forgotten. But it's in that darkness that the seed begins to grow. The roots take hold, the plant begins to form, and eventually it breaks through the soil into the light. The time spent in isolation was necessary for the seed to become what it was meant to be. The same is true for us. Our periods of isolation are when our roots grow deep, when our character is formed, when our strength is built. So if you find yourself in a season where you feel pulled away from the crowd, take heart. You are not alone, you are being prepared. God is working on you, shaping you, refining you for something greater. He is getting ready to reveal his plans for your life, to show you the path he wants you to take. But you have to be willing to embrace the quiet, to listen to his voice, to trust that he knows what he is doing. You are being set apart, not because you are unworthy, but because you are chosen for a special purpose. Embrace this season of solitude, for it is in the quiet that God does his greatest work. Your worth is not determined by how many people surround you. Your value is innate, it's in your smile, your resilience, your passion, your dreams. This statement serves as a powerful reminder in a society that often equates worth with popularity, influence, or the size of one's social circle. In a world obsessed with numbers, the number of friends, followers, likes, or comments, it's easy to fall into the trap of measuring our self-worth based on external validation. But true value does not lie in these metrics. It is not defined by the number of people who know your name or the amount of attention you receive. Instead, it is rooted in something far deeper, the essence of who you are. I think about it, every individual is born with intrinsic value. This worth is not something you earn or lose based on what others think of you. It is a part of your very being. From the moment you take your first breath, you possess an inherent worth that no one can take away. It's the qualities you bring to the table that truly matter: your kindness, your strength in adversity, your ability to uplift others, and your capacity to love. These are the traits that make you valuable, not how many people are around to witness them. Many people spend their lives chasing approval, seeking to fill the emptiness they feel inside by surrounding themselves with others. They think that the more friends they have, the more validated they will feel. But this is a fleeting kind of validation, one that fades the moment those people are no longer present. True fulfillment and a sense of worth come from understanding that your value does not increase or decrease based on your social circle. It comes from knowing who you are at your core, what you stand for, and the unique qualities you possess that no one else can replicate. There is a certain freedom that comes with recognizing your worth independent of others. It means you no longer have to compromise who you are to fit into a particular group or to gain the approval of those around you. You don't have to wear a mask or pretend to be something you're not just to be accepted. Instead, you can stand firm in your identity, knowing that you are enough as you are. You can pursue your passions, live your dreams, and be your authentic self without feeling the need to seek validation from others. This inner sense of worth is a form of resilience. It is what keeps you grounded when life's storms hit, when people walk away, or when you feel isolated. It is the strength that allows you to keep moving forward, even when it feels like the world is against you. When you know your value, you understand that your worth is not diminished by setbacks, failures, or the opinions of others. You can face challenges head on because you know that no matter what happens, your value remains intact. We live in a culture that often tries to tell us that our worth is tied to our achievements, our relationships, or our social status. But these things are fleeting. They can be taken away in an instant. If you place your worth in external factors, you risk losing your sense of self when those factors change. True value, however, is something that cannot be taken away because it comes from within. It is found in the way you show up in the world, the way you treat others, and the way you live out your truth. Your smile, for instance, may seem like a small thing, but it carries immense power. It has the ability to light up a room, to bring comfort to someone who is struggling, and to spread joy in a way that words cannot. Your resilience is another testament to your worth. It is the strength you display in difficult times, the determination to get back up after falling, and the courage to keep going when the road gets tough. It is a reminder that you are capable of overcoming any obstacle, no matter how daunting it may seem. Your passion is a reflection of what sets your soul on fire, of what drives you to get out of bed in the morning and pursue your dreams. It is a part of your unique essence, something that no one else can duplicate. When you pour your heart into something, whether it's a project, a cause, or a relationship, you are expressing your value in a tangible way. You are showing the world what matters to you and using your gifts to make a difference. Your dreams, too, are a testament to your worth. They are the visions you hold in your heart, the goals you set for yourself, and the aspirations that push you to strive for more. They are a reflection of your potential and your belief in what you are capable of achieving. When you chase your dreams, you are acknowledging your own value and refusing to settle for anything less than what you deserve. There is a profound strength in knowing that your worth is not up for debate. It is not something that others can define or diminish. You do not need anyone's permission to recognize your value. You do not need to be liked by everyone or to be surrounded by a large crowd to be significant. Your significance comes from being true to who you are, from living authentically and unapologetically. It comes from understanding that you have something unique to offer the world, something that no one else can bring. The moment you stop looking for your worth outside of yourself is the moment you step into your true power. You begin to live for yourself, to make choices that align with your values, and to create a life that reflects your true essence. You realize that you do not have to conform to anyone else's expectations or fit into any mold. You are free to be who you were created to be, to embrace your flaws, your strengths, and everything in between. This understanding of worth is a shield that protects you from the negativity and criticism of the world. It is a source of confidence that allows you to stand tall, even when others try to bring you down. It is the foundation on which you can build a life of purpose, joy, and fulfillment. When you know your worth, you don't settle for less than you deserve. You surround yourself with people who see your value, who appreciate you for who you are, and who lift you up rather than tear you down. You attract relationships that are built on mutual respect, love, and understanding because you understand your own value and demand the same in return. Knowing your worth is not about arrogance, it's about recognizing the light within you and allowing it to shine. It's about embracing your uniqueness and celebrating the qualities that make you who you are. It's about loving yourself enough to know that you are deserving of happiness, love, and all the good things life has to offer. Your worth is not something that can be measured by the number of people in your life. It is an intrinsic part of your being, woven into the very fabric of who you are. And that, my friend, is something truly priceless. The woman with no friends isn't friendless because she's unworthy. She's friendless because she's selective, choosing her peace over popularity and her purpose over superficial praise. This idea challenges a common misconception about solitude and the decision to limit one's social circle. And when we see someone who appears to be alone, society often rushes to label them as lonely or undesirable. However, many times this is far from the truth. A woman who seems to have no friends may, in fact, be making a deliberate choice to safeguard her inner peace and align her life with a higher purpose. Her decision is not based on a lack of options, but rather a discernment that comes from understanding the true value of authentic relationships. In today's world, the pressure to be popular, to have a large social circle, and to be constantly connected can be overwhelming. Social media amplifies this, making it seem like everyone has an endless list of friends and admirers. But behind the filters and the highlight reels, the reality is often different. Many people with extensive social circles still feel an emptiness because the connections they have are superficial. These are friendships that may be based on convenience, shared activities, or even mutual benefits rather than a genuine bond. The woman who chooses her peace over popularity has recognized this emptiness and decided that she would rather have no friends than be surrounded by people who don't truly understand or appreciate her. It takes a strong sense of self to make this choice. It's easy to conform, to join the crowd, and to go along with what everyone else is doing. But it's far harder to stand alone, to be content with your own company, and to hold out for meaningful relationships. This kind of selectivity is not born from arrogance, but from a deep understanding of one's own value and the recognition that not everyone is meant to be part of your journey. It is a form of self-respect, a way of honoring one's own time, energy, and emotional well-being. And when a woman chooses her peace over popularity, she is making a statement that her mental and emotional health are more important than social validation. In the search for true friendship, it's essential to discern who is genuinely in your corner and who is just along for the ride. A selective woman understands that not everyone deserves a seat at her table. She is not interested in surface-level connections that fade away when things get tough. Instead, she is looking for people who will support her, challenge her, and walk with her through the highs and lows of life. This requires a level of maturity and patience that many people don't possess. It requires the ability to say no to certain invitations, to step back from certain groups, and to be comfortable with the possibility of being alone for a season. Choosing purpose over superficial praise is another key element of this mindset. The selective woman is driven by a deep sense of mission. She is not swayed by what others think or what is popular at the moment. She has a clear vision for her life, and she knows where she is going. This clarity of purpose helps her to see beyond the noise and distractions of superficial relationships. It allows her to focus on her goals, her dreams, and her calling without getting sidetracked by the opinions or expectations of others. She understands that time is a precious resource and that every moment spent in the company of the wrong people is a moment that could have been used to build her future. This woman's choice to be selective is often misunderstood. People might think she is distant, aloof, or even unfriendly. But in reality, she is protecting her space and conserving her energy. She has likely experienced the pain of betrayal, the sting of false friends, and the exhaustion of trying to maintain relationships that were never built on a solid foundation. These experiences have taught her valuable lessons about trust, loyalty, and the kind of people she wants in her life. She knows that true friendship is not about numbers, but about depth. It's about the quality of the connection rather than the quantity of people in her circle. By choosing peace over popularity, she avoids the drama, the gossip, and the negativity that often come with large social circles. She has no interest in being part of cliques or participating in the politics of social status. Her focus is on living a life of integrity, staying true to her values, and surrounding herself with people who inspire her to be her best self. This doesn't mean she is against friendships or that she doesn't want meaningful connections. On the contrary, she values true friendship deeply, but she refuses to settle for anything less than authentic relationships. There is power in this kind of selectivity. It allows a woman to build a life that is in alignment with her values, her goals, and her beliefs. It gives her the freedom to be herself without the pressure to conform or to please others. When you know your worth, you are not afraid to walk alone for a season if it means you are making room for the right people to enter your life. This kind of woman is not afraid of solitude because she knows that her peace is more valuable than the approval of others. She would rather wait for a friend who truly understands her than fill her life with people who only see her at a surface level. In the end, this choice reflects a deep wisdom. It's a recognition that life is too short to spend it with people who drain your energy, question your worth, or distract you from your purpose. The selective woman knows that she deserves more than that. She deserves friends who will celebrate her successes, stand by her in her struggles, and push her to reach her full potential. Until she finds those people, she is content with her own company. She uses her time alone to grow, to reflect, and to prepare for the future. She is not lonely, she is building the foundation for a life filled with genuine, meaningful connections. This kind of discernment is rare, but it is a powerful trait. It's a sign of strength, self-awareness, and an unwavering commitment to one's own happiness and fulfillment. When a woman chooses her peace over popularity, she is choosing to live life on her own terms. She is rejecting the superficial in favor of the substantial, the shallow in favor of the deep. This decision may seem difficult at first, but it ultimately leads to a richer, more fulfilling life. By holding out for true connections, she is ensuring that the people she allows into her life are those who will add value, support her dreams, and walk with her in truth. This is the kind of life that is built not on the fleeting praise of the crowd, but on the solid foundation of genuine, lasting relationships. A woman with no friends is not missing out. She's making room for the right people, those who will lift her up and walk with her in truth and honesty. This statement challenges the common notion that a lack of friends equates to a lack of fulfillment. In reality, a woman who appears to be alone may not be missing out on the superficial aspects of companionship, but rather, she is creating space in her life for relationships that truly matter. Instead of filling her time with people who might not align with her values or understand her journey, she is deliberately choosing to wait for the right kind of connections, those that are genuine, uplifting, and rooted in honesty. In our fast-paced world, It's easy to be surrounded by people and still feel alone. Many friendships are formed out of convenience or circumstance rather than a deep mutual connection. These surface-level relationships can provide a temporary sense of companionship, but they often lack the depth needed to withstand the tests of time and hardship. A woman who consciously chooses to have fewer friends isn't making this choice out of bitterness or because she is unworthy of friendship. Instead, she understands the value of quality over quantity. She realizes that not everyone who enters her life is meant to stay, and she is willing to let go of connections that no longer serve her growth. It takes a great deal of wisdom and maturity to make this choice. Society often pressures us to be constantly surrounded by people, to have a large social network, and to be well-liked. This pressure can lead many to accumulate a wide circle of acquaintances, even if those relationships are not particularly meaningful. But the woman who is selective about her friendships recognizes that the number of people around her does not define her worth or her happiness. She knows that it is better to have a few close, trustworthy friends than to be surrounded by many who don't truly know or support her. This decision requires courage. It means being willing to spend time alone, to face moments of solitude without the immediate comfort of others. For many, this can be a daunting prospect. We are conditioned to believe that being alone is synonymous with being lonely, but this is not necessarily true. Solitude can be a powerful time for self-reflection, growth, and healing. It allows a woman to get to know herself better, to understand her own needs and desires, and to clarify what she truly wants in her relationships. By spending time alone, she gains a stronger sense of self and becomes more attuned to what kind of people she wants to let into her life. A woman who is willing to wait for the right people understands the importance of surrounding herself with those who lift her up rather than bring her down. She is looking for friends who are genuinely happy for her successes, who support her during tough times, and who encourage her to pursue her dreams. These are the friends who will walk with her in truth and honesty, who will be there not just for the good times but also for the difficult moments. They are the ones who will give her honest feedback, who will tell her the truth, even when it's hard to hear, and who will stand by her side regardless of the circumstances. Making room for the right people means being willing to let go of relationships that are no longer healthy or beneficial. It means having the strength to walk away from toxic friendships, even if it's painful. It's a form of self-care, a way of protecting one's mental and emotional well-being. It's about recognizing when a friendship has run its course and being okay with that. This can be especially challenging when there is a history or a deep emotional attachment, but the selective woman knows that holding on to the wrong people can prevent her from finding the right ones. There is a certain freedom that comes with this kind of selectivity. It means she is not bound by the expectations of others or by the need to be constantly surrounded by people. She doesn't have to conform to social norms or worry about what others might think of her choices. Instead, she lives authentically, guided by her own values and priorities. This freedom allows her to be more present in her life, to focus on her goals, and to nurture the relationships that truly matter. It gives her the space to cultivate deeper, more meaningful connections with the people who genuinely care about her. The right people, those who lift her up, are not easy to find. They are the ones who see her for who she truly is, who appreciate her strengths and accept her flaws. They are the friends who bring positivity into her life, who inspire her to be her best self, and who challenge her to grow. They do not compete with her or try to bring her down. Instead, they celebrate her achievements and encourage her to keep moving forward. These kinds of friendships are rare and precious, and they are worth waiting for. A woman who chooses to make room for these types of relationships is investing in her future happiness and well-being. She is not settling for temporary companionship or filling her time with people who don't add value to her life. Instead, she is choosing to be patient, to hold out for the friendships that will truly make a difference. This kind of patience is a sign of strength and self-respect. It shows that she values herself enough to know that she deserves to be surrounded by people who truly care about her, who see her worth, and who are willing to invest in a deep, meaningful connection. This approach to friendships also allows her to bring her best self to the table. When she is not bogged down by draining, one-sided relationships, she has more energy and time to invest in the friendships that matter. She can show up fully, offering her support, love, and encouragement to those who do the same for her. This mutual exchange creates a strong foundation for lasting friendships that can weather any storm. It's a partnership built on trust, respect, and a shared commitment to uplifting one another. In the end, the woman who chooses to wait for the right people is not missing out on anything. She is, in fact, positioning herself for richer, more fulfilling relationships. By making room for the right people, she is creating space for the kind of friendships that will bring joy, support, and genuine connection into her life. These are the friendships that will stand the test of time, that will grow deeper with each passing year, and that will enrich her life in ways she never imagined. She is not settling for anything less than what she truly deserves, and that is a powerful, liberating choice. The woman who has no friends often seems misunderstood. People see her solitude and mistake it for loneliness, but in reality, she's focused on her growth, building herself up before she extends herself to others. This idea touches on a significant yet often overlooked aspect of self-development, the need for solitude. In a world that emphasizes constant social interaction and connectivity, choosing to be alone is frequently misinterpreted. People may assume that a woman who spends time by herself must be lonely or unable to make friends, when in fact, she is using this time to focus on her personal growth, self-reflection, and healing. Her solitude is not a result of unworthiness or lack of companionship, but rather a deliberate decision to invest in herself before opening up to the world. There is immense power in solitude. When a woman decides to spend time alone, she is not avoiding people out of fear or rejection. Instead, she is creating space for introspection. It is in these quiet moments that she can hear her own thoughts clearly, understand her deepest desires, and recognize her patterns and behaviors. This level of self-awareness is crucial for personal growth, as it enables her to identify areas in her life that need improvement, confront past wounds that need healing, and set goals for her future. Without the constant noise of social interactions and external opinions, she can listen to her inner voice and align her actions with her true values. The woman who embraces solitude is often on a journey of self-discovery. She is exploring who she is beyond the role she plays in other people's lives, beyond being a daughter, a sister, a colleague, or a friend. This process involves digging deep to understand her core beliefs, her strengths, her weaknesses, and what she truly wants out of life. It's a journey that requires courage because it often means confronting uncomfortable truths and letting go of old narratives that no longer serve her. But it is also a journey that leads to profound growth and transformation, allowing her to become the best version of herself. Focusing on personal growth before building friendships is a sign of wisdom. The woman understands that healthy relationships require a strong foundation, and that foundation starts with a healthy self. If she is not in a good place emotionally, mentally, or spiritually, she may struggle to maintain balanced, meaningful connections with others. By taking the time to work on herself first, she is ensuring that she can bring her best self into any future relationships. This is not about being perfect before making friends, but about recognizing the importance of self-improvement and striving to be the kind of friend she would want to have. In this period of self-focus, she might explore new interests, take on challenges that push her out of her comfort zone, or learn new skills that build her confidence. She might dive into her passions, read books that broaden her perspective, or engage in activities that bring her joy and fulfillment. This phase of life is about building herself up from the inside out, finding her own strength, and creating a life that she loves on her own terms. It's a time of exploration, where she can try new things without the influence of others, discovering what truly brings her happiness and satisfaction. The woman who prioritizes her growth knows that she will attract the right kind of people into her life when the time is right. She is not rushing to make friends just for the sake of having company. Instead, she trusts that as she becomes more aligned with her authentic self, she will naturally connect with people who share similar values and interests. This kind of connection is far deeper and more meaningful than the kind formed out of convenience or a need for social validation. It's based on a shared understanding and mutual respect, which creates a solid foundation for lasting friendship. There's also an element of healing involved in this process. Many women who choose solitude have been hurt in the past, perhaps by friends who betrayed their trust or by relationships that left them feeling unworthy. Taking time to be alone is a way for her to heal those wounds without distraction. She has given herself the space to process her emotions, to grieve losses, and to rebuild her self-esteem. This healing period is essential because it allows her to enter future relationships from a place of wholeness rather than brokenness. When she is ready to open herself up to others again, she does so with a clear heart and a mind free of past baggage. Building oneself up before extending to others is also a form of self-respect. It is an acknowledgement of her worth and a commitment to becoming the best version of herself. She understands that she is deserving of high-quality relationships and that these relationships are more likely to develop when she has done the work on herself first. By investing in her own growth, she is setting a standard for the kind of connections she wants in her life, those that are supportive, nurturing, and built on mutual understanding. She is not willing to settle for less than she deserves. And that begins with how she treats herself. The solitude she embraces is not empty or devoid of life. It's filled with the richness of self-discovery, the excitement of personal growth, and the quiet satisfaction of progress. Each day she becomes a little stronger, a little wiser, and a little more in tune with who she is. The time spent alone becomes a fertile ground for the seeds of her future friendships. As she grows and changes, she is better able to recognize the kind of people who will complement her journey rather than hinder it. This approach to friendship and personal development is not an easy path. It requires patience, resilience, and a deep sense of self-awareness. It means being comfortable with one's own company and finding joy in solitude, rather than seeking constant external validation. But the rewards are profound. The woman who takes this time to build herself up finds that when she does connect with others, the relationships are far more meaningful and fulfilling. These friendships are based on a genuine connection rather than a need for approval or companionship. They are the kind of relationships that can withstand the tests of time because they are built on a strong foundation of self-awareness and mutual respect. Ultimately, this woman is not missing out on life by choosing to spend time alone. She is preparing herself for deeper, more meaningful connections in the future. Her solitude is a time of preparation, growth, and healing, setting the stage for a life filled with rich, authentic relationships. The people who eventually come into her life are not just there to fill a void, but to add value to a life she has already built with intention and purpose. This is the beauty of her journey. By focusing on her growth first, she creates space for the right kind of people to enter her life and share in the joy of her success, her laughter, and her authentic self. The woman who seemingly has no friends isn't necessarily alone. She's likely a woman who is her own best friend first. She knows the value of her own company, choosing to be at peace with herself, rather than surrounded by people who disturb her inner harmony. This perspective defies common assumptions about what it means to be alone. Society often views a person without a large social circle as lonely or lacking, but for many, solitude is a deliberate and fulfilling choice. A woman who is her own best friend values her time and mental space. She has learned the art of self-companionship, finding comfort in her own presence and embracing the peace that comes with it. The journey to becoming one's own best friend is not always straightforward. It often starts in times of difficulty, when the usual support systems may fail or when external validation no longer satisfies. In these moments, a woman might find herself turning inward, discovering a deeper relationship with herself. She learns to rely on her own strength, comfort herself in times of need, and celebrate her achievements without needing others to validate her. This process builds a foundation of self-trust and self-reliance. She understands that while friendships can be beautiful and enriching, her well-being does not depend on the presence of others. Her happiness, fulfillment, and sense of self-worth are cultivated from within. Being comfortable with her own company is a sign of a strong, mature mindset. It takes courage to sit with one's own thoughts, to confront one's fears, and to embrace one's flaws. When a woman becomes her own best friend, she is no longer afraid of silence or solitude. Instead, she finds solace in it. She uses her alone time as an opportunity for reflection, self-improvement, and relaxation. In a world where people often seek to fill every quiet moment with distractions, she stands out as someone who values stillness. She knows that true peace comes from within, and that spending time alone is essential for maintaining this inner calm. This kind of woman is at ease when she's by herself because she has cultivated a deep sense of self-acceptance. She knows who she is with all her strengths and weaknesses, and she embraces herself fully. This self-acceptance is key to her happiness. When you are your own best friend, you are not constantly seeking external approval or trying to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be. Instead, you are comfortable being exactly who you are, flaws and all. This authenticity is liberating. It allows her to live her life according to her own values and desires, rather than trying to meet the expectations of others. Being her own best friend also means she has a rich internal life. She enjoys her hobbies, passions, and interests without needing a crowd to validate her choices. Whether she's painting, writing, gardening, or reading, she finds joy in these solitary activities. Her happiness comes from doing things that fulfill her, not from seeking approval or applause. This self-sufficiency allows her to live a life that is true to her desires and preferences. She doesn't follow trends or do things just because others are doing them. She listens to her own heart and follows her own path. This independence is often admired but misunderstood. People might view her as aloof or antisocial because she does not constantly seek out the company of others. However, this isn't because she dislikes people or has difficulty making friends, rather. It's because she has learned to cherish her own time and space. She values quality over quantity in her relationships. She prefers a few deep, meaningful connections over a wide network of superficial acquaintances. This woman does not feel the need to conform to societal expectations of having a large social circle. Instead, she finds contentment in her own company, knowing that she does not need others to feel complete. Her self-reliance also means that when she does engage in friendships, she brings her best self to the table. She does not rely on others for her happiness, so her relationships are built on mutual respect and support, rather than neediness or dependency. This kind of friendship is rare and precious. It is a connection between two whole individuals who choose to share their lives with each other because they want to, not because they need to.
These relationships are often deeper and more fulfilling because they are based on genuine connection rather than a desire to fill a void.
Another key aspect of being her own best friend is that she is her own source of motivation and inspiration. She does not wait for others to lift her up or tell her she can achieve her dreams. She believes in herself and her abilities. This self-confidence is rooted in her deep understanding of her own worth. She has spent time building herself up, learning her strengths, and acknowledging her weaknesses. This kind of self-awareness is empowering because it allows her to navigate life's challenges with resilience and grace. She knows that no matter what happens, she has her own back. The woman who is her own best friend has a strong sense of independence. She makes her own decisions and lives by her own rules. She does not feel pressured to conform to what others expect of her, nor does she feel the need to explain her choices. This independence is a reflection of her inner strength. It takes a lot of courage to live life on your own terms, especially in a world that often judges those who do not fit into conventional molds. But this woman has found her own rhythm, and she dances to it without fear of judgment. Being her own best friend does not mean she is isolated or disconnected from others. She values meaningful interactions and cherishes the time she spends with loved ones. However, she does not depend on these interactions for her happiness. She is whole on her own, and this wholeness allows her to give freely in her relationships without expecting anything in return. She has learned that the best relationships are those where two individuals come together as complete beings, sharing their lives without needing each other to fill gaps. Ultimately, this kind of woman is at peace with herself. She has found a balance between being alone and engaging with others. She does not fear solitude because she knows it is in these quiet moments that she reconnects with herself. This inner harmony is her greatest strength, allowing her to live a life that is full, authentic, and deeply satisfying. By being her own best friend, she has discovered a source of joy that is independent of external circumstances, a joy that no one can take away from her. This is the quiet power of a woman who knows her own worth and loves herself deeply. Thank you.